Excited for a road trip? Start it off right with auto coverage from American Family Insurance. J.D. Power ranked us number 1 in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance shopping experience among mid-size insurers. Get a quote at amfam.com.
American Family Insurance.
For J.D. Power 2021 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Thank you for calling 423-GET-FAME. That's 423-GET-FAME. I would tell you to leave a message, but the truth is, I don't really care. I've had this hotline open for months, and not one of you jokers have what it takes to be famous like me. So leave a message if you want, but don't expect a call back. I've got way more important things to do than to waste my time on losers like Mascarita Sagrada and you all. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Hey there, folks, and welcome back to the Grave Consequences podcast, which is a part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Listen to everything else that is amazing here on this network, and that means everything. Today, we're here for the beginning of Season 3 of Lucha Underground. Season 3, Episode 1. The working title of this episode is Wheel of Misfortune. My name is Caleb Baldwin. You can follow me on Twitter at IamCalebB. That's I am Caleb, and then another B at the end. Follow my co-host, friend, producer, the other half of this show who does 90% of the work. I'm going to be honest with you. My good friend, Greg, last name redacted. You can follow him on Twitter at xmaserati. That will be in the description. Also, check me out every Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite on Eddie and Caleb's HeroCast. That is a hero movie-based podcast. The recording date is Monday, January 10, 2022. Greg, this is our first recording in about a month. How are you doing, man? How are you doing?
Well, today is a rough day. Running off of less than 5 hours of sleep. Waiting for vet results that could be bad. And I'm just hurting physically and mentally right now.
I am very sorry to hear that, man. If it helps, I overthought myself into oblivion this weekend, if that makes you feel any better.
I think I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I've been there too. So it doesn't make me feel any better because I've been there.
Yeah.
I'd rather get this done. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, and it's your girl, right? Your older one?
Yeah, I mean, it might be fine. She's had kennel cough. She's older, and she's been unable to get rid of kennel cough despite 2 medications. And it's a virus, so it's supposed to be... Dogs usually just get over it on their own. So I took her in for x-rays, and this is a place that may be kind of just trying to take money out of me. They're starting to get a reputation for that. And they found a deformity in her heart, which could be anything, because I have a deformity. I have a leaky valve in my heart, and it doesn't affect me. So we're just waiting to see what that means.
Yeah. No, I get you, man. But hope your dog gets better, man. Guys, Season 3. We are more than halfway through the show now. This is our longest season so far, and actually in the entire run of the series, this is going to be the longest season. We're talking 40 episodes, 41 hours of content.
You know, that would explain like how off the other seasons have felt to me, or how much my memory seems to come mostly from this season.
Yeah.
Just because it's a 2-parter, right?
Yeah.
It goes like 20 episodes and then it goes away for a little bit.
Yeah. So funny story. They did the first 20 episodes and then they didn't announce their return date, even though they had already recorded everything. And they finally, I think like maybe 6, maybe even 9 months later, they come back and, give you the other half of the season.
It's weird, man. Lucha Underground is really showing to be one of those promotions that makes a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
There's no other way to kind of say it. They just do some things where if we're 2020 hindsight, it's but at the same time, like they are legitimate mistakes. So we see some promotions doing a lot of cool stuff lately, all over the place, and we see some people doing some really bad stuff. But this is when promotions were still making some of the same basic stupid ass decisions.
Yeah. And okay, so Lucha Underground is in a unique position, being that they are, not a weekly episodic thing. They are episodic, but it is not entirely weekly. They don't run 52 weeks a year. That being said, a lot of shows, especially reality-based shows, will, when the season's over, they'll be like, "Hey, we'll be back." Like, I'll give you an example: The Masked Singer. After season 2, they're like, "Hey guys, you guys have a Merry Christmas. We're coming back right after the Super Bowl." So like, okay, so that's when the return date. Now, granted, you can't advertise a return date if you don't even have content produced or a guaranteed one, but still, it's like people like to know when they can expect something.
Mm-hmm. This one was very much unknown.
Yes.
And it's the third season, so you'd think like, okay, you should know if you're coming back by now.
Exactly. And not only that, but it's like, here's an example of good advertising. And, I know we talk about them quite a lot, but like AEW spent months and months saying like, hey, January 5th, TBS, January 5th, TBS, we're going to be there. And then what do? They crack a 1.01 rating. Like that is an instance of their advertising working out like quite swimmingly.
Yeah, they're pretty lucky that they get a lot of things right. They're not perfect, but they get a lot of things right.
No, like their social media team is pretty tone deaf, but no, that doesn't surprise me considering they work with the PWTs. But enough about that. Let's get into it, man. Let's get into season 3, episode 1, Wheel of Misfortune. And I don't know if you have a working title or an alternate title, but if you do, you can lay it on me, or maybe it'll come to you by the end of the episode.
Yeah, we'll see what comes of it. I didn't really get anything watching it. Like this episode, I'll be honest, I still had some hurt feelings from Ultima Lucha Ultima Lucha Dos Night 3. I still had some I had some bad feelings about it, and then the way the main event even comes about and the way it flows, it just made me realize like they really did not know what to do with Pentagon, like at all.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, sir. But enough about Pentagon. We'll get to him later. The first thing we see is Dario in his jail cell because again he got arrested and he's struggling to do pull-ups.
This is his first one too. He's like, oh, one.
Yeah, it's not a Ron Burgundy situation where he was doing over 1,000, but he's struggling to do the pull-ups when a guard comes by and says, you must have friends in high places. And Dario comes back, you have no idea.
I'm trying to think of, well, you really can't take this storyline.
Yeah.
You can't really apply any critical thinking to it at all. This is like B-level movie plot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, and even the way they portray it, I don't know if they even try to portray it seriously.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because it becomes like a main plot point of the show. Like even if it is. Yeah. Sorry.
No, I was just going to agree. Like it kind of is the main plot point.
Yeah, it's the reason the temple is, being used for fighting to begin with. But Dario is getting his belongings, his bowl, his key, all of that. And who is the guard handing it to him but the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in the WWF history, the Honky Tonk Man.
They haven't gone out of their way to beat that record yet?
I mean, it's over a year. It's like 14 months, so I don't think they have, no.
That's wild. Well, they've gone a long time with the heavyweight title in recent years, I'd say. CM Punk had like over a year, right?
Mm-hmm. CM Punk had like 434. Brock recently had 504. Roman, I think, is going to beat that. But, you're not wrong.
How long is Honky Tonk's title reign again?
14 months. So probably around like close to 400 days, a little over.
Okay. Surprised they haven't tried, but
Yeah.
it's actually kind of surprising.
Yeah. No, I would agree. Dario's back. I wrote down the Antichrist isn't having it, and that he looks like Dr. Claw.
Yeah, he definitely does have a Dr. Claw with his one gauntlet on the side there in camera view.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Well, I won't talk about it because I think I'm getting a little mixed up about who is who.
Yeah.
For these characters, but that gauntlet, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
We're going to see that gauntlet again.
Yes, we will. You're right. But hey, we are back in the temple now. The chimps play us in. Chimps with a Z because they're cool. They play us in, and we're welcomed by the announce team. We go into the ring, and we see Dario Cueto and Matanza, of course, the reigning, defending Lucha Underground champion. And Dario welcomes us. Dario mentions that tonight's main event is Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Pentagon Dark. That is huge, like Ultima Lucha level.
Definitely. They did come back with it is a huge match, but it's very much, do you have much more to say about this? Because I'm going to talk about like near the end part of it.
Well, no, we'll talk about that when the match comes up.
Well, I was going to say, are you going to talk about the wheel?
Yes, we will. But Dario goes on about how, like, Pentagon showed him something when he bled Vampiro like a pig. Oink, oink.
Vampiro sucks.
That was Dario doing that, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah. Dario presents us with a wheel. He says, spin the wheel, make the deal. It's Dario's Dial of Doom. And this Dial of Doom features names, on different slots of luchadors who have not lost a singles match against Matanza. And if this wheel lands on your name, you will receive a Lucha Underground Championship match against the monster Matanza Cueto.
Yeah, I had a few problems with this.
Okay.
One, Havoc's on there, right?
Yes.
Yes. I could have sworn they had a singles match. I could have sworn Havoc fought Matanza before.
I don't believe so. I know he fought Mil Muertes in season 1, I believe.
Okay, you're right. He did fight. You remember that gauntlet he did where it was a unique opportunity?
Yeah.
Who did he fight at the end of that?
Dr. Wagner Jr.
Dr. Wagner Jr. Okay, so that's fine. The other thing is he makes a big deal about how Rey Mysterio is not on there because he technically lost in a non-singles match to Matanza.
In Aztec Warfare, which it's like, dude, he beat like 9 people in that match. Are they also not on this? And I think the answer is no. I think some of them are.
So Pentagon's not on it because he lost 2 singles matches.
Yeah. Yes.
So it becomes very clear that they're now going to be pushing Rey versus Matanza.
Yeah.
Which it's just not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You saw in AEW where Christian lost to Jungle Boy in that one tournament.
Yep.
You don't need to have these WWE stars run wild with it. Like even AEW has Daniel Bryan challenging for the main event for Hangman, but they didn't have him go over.
No, exactly. No, it's like, it's clear like this is like a big episode ender, like a rivalry, a big time rivalry that they're building up, or like even maybe a Ultima Lucha type of feud.
Yes.
Like you don't like Rey Mysterio of all people does not actually need that rub.
No, and the thing is, like, how often has he gotten injured not lately, but even back then, like he was a little bit, and he looked great. There was nothing wrong with him. It's just he didn't need it. you know, I feel like he came in here. He's like, you know what? I'm not losing to nobody. That's my contract. And
it's fun. That may actually be the case. Is the funny thing.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say there's a lot of things that happen that are great for Rey Mysterio in Lucha Underground. I'm not trying to paint him in a bad light.
Yeah.
But it was at a detriment of other characters.
Yeah, I think you can count Rey Mysterio's singles losses on one hand in Lucha Underground for what it's worth.
Easily, yeah. I think I can't even, like, maybe 3.
Yeah. So anyway, we mentioned the Dial of Doom, and it landed on Son of Havoc. So right away, we're getting a Matanza versus Son of Havoc match for the Lucha Underground Championship. I wrote down a couple of spots here that really stuck out to me. One was Son of Havoc planking on the air on his side, outside on the ring post, and then an elbow drop to the floor.
Yeah, he started whipping that out in season 2. He's done it a few times. They don't always bring enough attention to it because it is pretty cool.
It's amazing. It's like the level of athleticism you have to be like stiff as a board and get that done is just absurd. Truly absurd. Son of Havoc actually gets a hope spot. He hits the foot stomp for 2, but it's just, truthfully, it's not enough. This match was good. It's a lot of Son of Havoc striking, Matanza absorbing. Things happen, but Son of Havoc, I believe, goes to springboard, and he gets caught by Matanza, and we see the best Wrath of the Gods that we have seen so far.
It's the best one. It's still not the greatest finish.
No.
And I even looking back, dude, back when I first watched this, I didn't like Matanza because Pentagon lost to him twice. Like, all his momentum was gone. It's clearly not his fault looking back on it. Yeah. Because they were saving that win for Rey Mysterio. So why? I mean, they just remember we talked about it the last time we recorded. They what's it called? They repackaged him before they buried him.
Yes. Yeah.
So Matanza sells. He does a very good job letting the other person get hope spots and look strong. Like, he sells. He's supposed to be the monster, but he fucking sells. So I give him credit for that. It's just like, what his loss is ultimately going to be fed to someone that just leaves the company. It's such a waste.
Yeah. No, you're right. Oh my gosh. So after this, we see the Worldwide Underground in Dario Cueto's office, and Johnny Mundo wants a title shot at Sexy Star, and Dario points out, like, hey, you guys all lost at Ultima Lucha. In fact, the only one in Worldwide Underground who didn't lose was Taya. So why shouldn't she get the title shot? And I believe that's what happened, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she gets a title shot.
Yep, exactly. Also,
against Sexy Star, excuse me, for the
yeah. Taya gets a shot against Sexy Star for the gift of the gods. That being said, Angelico at one point is brought up because, of course, we remember Angelico interfering on behalf of the Lucha Friends, actually more so against Worldwide Underground, interfering to basically cost them the match. And Johnny says, like, no, we took care of him. And then we see a vignette of, I believe, all 4 members of Worldwide Underground just taking their turns at Angelico, just beating the crap out of him.
Yeah, and Angelico, after he split up from Havoc and Ivelisse, man, he didn't have anyone to have his back, apparently. Like,
or possibly Angelico just got really injury prone, oddly enough.
Yeah, I think he was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah, which is funny because I don't think he is anymore.
He hasn't been on AEW. I think, and we're trying not to talk about AEW too much, but I think this is my theory, and I have no evidence to back this up. But I think wrestlers, especially like Angelico and Jack Evans, I think I think AEW pretty much lets people work indies, if I'm correct. I think a lot of people are kind of, if they don't have anything, they're not waiting around catering. They're like using their name on AEW to go out and get gigs. I mean, Jack Evans is stuck in Mexico.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I think that's what's happening, and there are injuries too. So
Yeah. After that, we see Ivelisse in the ring, and she calls out Katrina, but she calls her out for Ultima Lucha Trace, full on like rockin' John Cena style, like season premiere. I want you in the season finale. Like, it's just wild to think about.
It's wild that this is it's basically going to be it's being announced the same first day as Matanza versus, Rey Mysterio and Matanza. I don't know if it's the final Ultima Lucha match, but it's a long time for a match that's kind of like, oh, that's neat. Okay, Ivelisse versus, I mean, they've been setting up for a long time. They put a lot behind Ivelisse, and I don't know. I'm trying to say this without just being negative about her, but it's a lot of energy being spent on like a low card feud.
Yeah, it'd be like if
I mean, what's her name? Katrina is not a wrestler.
no,
She's a valet.
exactly. Also, Katrina said, "Bring it on, bitch." So that match is confirmed.
Yay.
But no, it'd be like if, hear me out. So WrestleMania 25, Chris Jericho fought. It was Jimmy Snuka, Roddy Piper, and Ricky Steamboat. It'd be like if the day after WrestleMania 24, they laid that challenge down and it was like, oh, we got a year to build to this now. It's absurd.
Yeah, you didn't really need a year. You could have just done it in like 3 months, and
yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Should I spoil what I think happens to Eve?
No,
Okay.
You shouldn't.
All right. I will not.
Good. Sexy Star and Taya have a match. For some reason, I wrote down Eva Lise, but that was a mistake on my end. Sexy Star and Taya fight for the Gift of the Gods. Of course, Sexy Star defending. And Sexy Star gets the win after interference from the Worldwide Underground goes, what's the word I'm looking for here? Backfires upon them.
Yeah, did she roll her up? I forget if she rolled her up.
I do believe it was a roll-up, yes.
Yeah, and apparently this was the first successful defense. They said that no one's ever defended it successfully before.
Yeah.
Which I thought was wrong, but I looked it up, and because I could have sworn Cuerno defended it successfully, or even Phoenix, but apparently I was wrong.
No, it's only been defended twice, so
okay.
No. Yeah. Let's see here. After that, we have a 4-on-1 beatdown on Sexy Star. So the Worldwide Underground is taking it to her when the reigning defending trios champions run in and make the save and even the odds.
Yeah, they're keeping that feud going, and this is actually the best feud they have, the best and smartest feud.
No, you're right. It's 6 very talented luchadors.
Yeah, and they're all originals.
Yes.
That's the thing is like you can have someone that's retired or a part timer, but like I have a problem with part timers.
Yeah. Well, I believe PJ Black actually shows up at the second season, but other than that, yes.
Well, you know what I mean. Like I mean like the whole Ray thing. It could have been probably you get what I think it makes more sense to invest in your future than to just kind of like get the hand-me-downs from WWE.
Yeah, I think you're sour on Rey Mysterio.
A little bit. I mean, who did it come at the cost of? Puma, Pentagon. Who else is going to be next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. So after this, we see Marty the Moth in Dario's office, and Dario thanks Marty for saving him, getting him out of jail. Dario tells Marty, like, hey, if you want gold, if you want to get to the top, you got to go to war.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy that wants to go to war with you for those tags that you are wearing right now. And with that, Dario announces that next week we have got a weapons of mass destruction match, Killshot versus Marty the Moth. And it's funny, but with Dario's enunciation, it sounded like he said weapons of mass distraction, like it's like it's a titties match or something.
Cool.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. But either way, next week, some type of plundering match, Marty the Moth versus Killshot. It's going to be great.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Of course, I say this as someone who's already seen it, so yes, it will be great. I'm just going to let you know. After that, we see our main event, Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Pentagon Dark, and the first thing I wrote down, more like Pentagon Dork.
Yeah, Pentagon comes out like a heel, and he wrestles like a heel.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just doing his best to get Ray over, which is just so ass backwards.
Yes. It's like this is not as egregious as the Chavo stuff in the first season.
No.
But it's still like, come on. It's like Pentagon's your guy. Like, he's your dark ace. What are you doing with him?
They completely are. They have wiped their ass with him. That's why he's dark now.
Yeah.
And it's so ass backwards. It's like, man, like you could have had anybody in there with Ray, and there's so many people that could give Ray a great match. But this was so reminiscent of when Pentagon first showed up, and he was just selling for Phoenix, which is fine because it's fucking Phoenix.
Yeah.
And he's a homegrown, fresh new baby face. But Ray didn't need to like sacrifice Pentagon for this because it's just clear that he's an aftertaste.
Yeah. No, you were not wrong. You were not wrong. And it's funny because like the way they book this, it's like a WWE style, like here lately, where like, well, this guy hasn't won, but then this happened to like protect them, quote unquote. And it's like Pentagon had the match won, but he postured for way too long. And Rey Mysterio actually wins off the flip pile driver. And I do say flip pile driver because that is not a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah, I'll be honest, dude. I missed it because I couldn't even see any offense for Pentagon because I'd be watching and it seemed like all Pentagon was doing was countering every once in a while, maybe, getting like
Yeah.
a kick in or something. And it was just like every high spot, it just felt like Ray won. Like every
Well,
sequence, Ray got the better of him.
well, be that as it may, after the match, Pentagon attacks Rey Mysterio, and he's going to go to break Rey Mysterio's arm, but he gets stopped by El Dragon Azteca Jr. That's right, the man who Pentagon broke the arm of at Ultima Lucha Dos last season. And a good quote here from Matt Stryker: "Nothing creates empathy like experience." That stuck out to me, dude. That is a great quote.
Nothing creates empathy like experience.
Yes.
In regards to
Arm breaking, bones breaking.
well, he was also doing it because he's his mentor. So
Well, yeah, but still, like, again, Azteca has experienced the arm breaking. Of course, he's not going to want that for his mentor.
Of course not. It's the one silver lining is there's one match that I think you've talked about where it did horrible in the views and the ratings, but it's a match I enjoy, and it's the only bright light at the end of this tunnel.
Wow. Yeah.
For me at least.
Well, it didn't do anything good for Lucha Underground.
No, I mean, they have only themselves to blame. Like they set themselves up for what exactly? For payoff with someone that they make some. Vampiro or I know it was Conan was talking about how people would get in the ears of the creators and writers and if they liked them they would like, oh well, maybe we should do this, and Conan saw the writing on the walls, and I didn't really believe him at first because I heard that interview like maybe a year ago, and I was like, man, I think he's just bitter. But looking back, I'm like, yeah, there must have been some of that because there's some decisions that don't. If you're just being objective, like it don't make sense to book some of these matches, to build some of these angles.
Yeah.
When you've shown that you know how to do angles.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. But after that match and after all that hullabaloo, we cut to Prince Puma in a locker room, just sitting around and thinking about his shortcomings, and maybe he just seems a little lost. And Vampiro comes in, of all people. Vampiro comes in to give Prince Puma a heart-to-heart, maybe. Anyway, Prince Puma is not quick to take to it because, of course, like, why would you trust Vampiro? He even says, he's like, dude, I don't need anything from you. And Vampiro reassures him, says like, this ain't about me, brother. Like, since you lost Conan, whether I like him or not, like, you ain't been the same. And since you lost to Mil Muertes, you ain't been the same. So if you want to get over this, you got to tap into your dark side and you got to take out Mil Muertes. And that's how we end the episode.
Yeah, Puma asked him, he's like, I'm surprised you didn't ask me to go to Penta. He's like, not about me, brother.
Yeah.
But this is another thing where I don't really think you need Vampiro in a story right now. And knowing where it goes, I really don't think you need Vampiro in a story right now.
Well, I will say, knowing where it goes by this season, I'm completely okay with it. Personally.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'll say, like, I'm really not okay with what happens with Pentagon.
Yeah.
Throughout the series.
I hear you. But that being said, folks, that is the episode. We're going to give you a grade on this episode. And I'm going to give this a solid B-. It wasn't too bad. The matches were fine. The story building was okay. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but, B-. That'll be my grade for the week.
I'm going to give it a C just because it does set things up. But, the main event is throwaway.
Yeah.
It means nothing.
Yeah, match of the week is definitely Matanza versus Son of Havoc.
Yeah, it was a good match, but we knew nothing. Some of their decisions hurt Matanza too. I'll just say it like that. It doesn't do him favors when he's a heel, but you want him to be a monster heel. So you want him to have those chinks in his armor. You don't want to have to completely I don't even know the word to use it. I don't know how to articulate it, but some of these decisions make him look not as strong as he kind of needs to be if he's going to be beating everybody.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
He's not a chicken shit heel that runs and hides and cheats to win. He may cheat occasionally because he's a monster, but some of these decisions are not the best. I'll just say that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Folks, that is the end of the episode. We thank you for listening. God bless you. And if you end up in a match in Lucha Underground with Rey Mysterio, your push may suffer some grave consequences.